Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Something to Do with Pete and Will. We promise it's something to do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's Something to Do. We promise it's something to do. Today I've got a friend of mine. Mike Krois is a wonderful human being that I've gotten to know through one of the websites that I've done, and I thank him for his service. And he's just a very special guy with a lot of interesting insights into life. And I thank you for joining us today and being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
How's everything going?
It's going well, all things considered.
Yeah. And so what's the day to day? Like how's your day to day? Like you're an engineer, and I very much assume that you're extremely prophetic in that. So how's that? What's the day to day go along with that?
Well, 2021 has been really kind of funny. Currently, the position that I'm in with this company, I only work about an hour a week. There's not a lot of work coming in, and I'm back up. So, but it's in a very specialized field of optics and spectrum analysis. So,
it's a very important hour.
Yes. I thought that was me. I keep touching my laptop.
No, my camera has a mind of its own. Sorry, go ahead. So that's a very important hour.
Yes, but I've been with this company for 10 years. I've been mute for 12 years. So it's an odd kind of way to work where the 250 people in the building have never spoken to any of them in the 10 years I've been there. So.
That's really interesting. So when you go in, so you're saying that you actually are on site for that amount of time. However, you're probably fielding phone calls and doing things constantly. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, I get that for sure. So Mike and I met on that website Clappo.
When are we going to get groceries?
7. Sorry.
I think that AM.
No, it's PM. My boy, sorry.
No, it's fine. Bring him in. He's welcome as well.
But
so I met Mike on the website Clapper, and we've talked about that ad nauseum on our show, because it's such an interesting swath of people that you can meet there. And so you'll walk into a room, and sometimes people are arguing about things or whatever it may be. It's really interesting. But it's also an interesting way to meet people that are like-minded, or, that you can have kind of a comfortable disagreement with. But sometimes it gets a little bit heated in there, doesn't it?
Oh, sure.
And that's interesting to me. And I usually dip out if that starts to happen. But the stories that you hear in there are really, really interesting. One of which I'll reference really quickly without giving any names, of course. But I was talking to somebody who I had met in there, and they were talking wonderfully about their uncle and just how wonderful this person was in this person's life and all those kinds of things. But as I started to dissect what it was, this is kind of indicative of what it is in Clapper. As you kind of dissect what the story is, you're like, there's more to this story than
like hang on.
Yeah, this is okay. Wonderful uncle, good. Now where do we go from here? Well, I used to have to blow start his car. I'm like, okay, that's a weird thing to have to do. What is that? What does that entail exactly? Well, he got a couple of DUIs and he couldn't start his car. And so I had to like blow into the apparatus, and he didn't have enough lung capacity. I was like, it wasn't lung capacity. He was drunk. You were letting him drunk drive his car.
Can't blow, girl. But, you know,
I was
that could have
like,
went
oh.
way worse though. So
Yeah. So, you know, you get into conversations like that, and you're like, well, this is we're completely different. No, he was my hero. Yeah, but you're blowing his car. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are you talking about? The guy can't get to the grocery store unless he's got a 15-year-old starting his car. So,
back at 15, she could have drove. I got to go get my boy's learner's license Monday.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't have one of those apparatuses.
No, no, no. My car's straight up. It's fine. Yeah.
But it's funny because in those rooms that you're familiar with, you'll walk in kind of blind, not really knowing what's gonna transpire, and then like, well, this is okay. I'm sorry, but I got to catch up. What are you guys talking about? They're like, well, you know, somebody beat me last night, and I was, you know, crying about it. But then I took him back, and you're like, wait, what? I'm just,
Hold up.
yeah, I'm just in here to say hi to y'all because I enjoy your all's company. But man, it gets quirky quick.
Clapper's a weird place, and too many people make snap judgments there, and they don't have the longevity looking at what's going on with people in particular, you know. And there's a lot of grifting going on. There's a lot of drama. There's so much drama on there.
Yeah, and I guess essentially it's people that have been kicked off of TikTok and things like that, right?
Maybe. I only spent 1 week on TikTok, and then I came to Clapper, and that was in July.
Well, yeah, and I didn't. I listen. I'm totally naive to the entire thing. However, it's so fascinating to me that it almost consumes each one of our episodes because of how interesting the people are, and you get the entire swath of the nation. And so you'll be talking to somebody in Indiana or somebody in Australia or somebody in England, and you kind of get an idea of what's happening in these people's lives, and it's so unique to them, and it's a unique perspective that. So if I come in and I start talking about Hollywood, or I start talking about working on television shows or movies or whatever it may be, that's totally alien to the people that I'm talking to. However, it's just as interesting the day-to-day of everybody else's life as well.
Right.
And so it's a fascinating place. And then you can pick and choose where you decide to kind of land yourself, and but people there's rules to it, and it's really quirky. So let's say you go into somebody's radio excuse me, and then you dip out, or it kicks you out, or whatever it is, and then they think that it's like a slight, and it's very interesting, and it's fun waters to traverse,
right.
because I'm not a controversial person, and I'm not aggressive, and I'm not going to argue. However, you get in those environments and you'll listen to two people argue about something. And in my mind, I'm like, you guys are so far away from each other. Why are you giving each other credence in order to have this argument? And it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
I think psychologists and sociologists would love the place just to watch how these people interact. But I do like the fact that it's worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it fascinating that people have an interest in watching myself as an American just south of Atlanta, Georgia, go into a normal Kroger grocery store and show them the aisles, which is fascinating. And this person from, I think the Australia was like, you have like 15 types of cereal, right? And I was like, bitch, I got 15 types of Captain Krois. Come check this shit out. You know?
Exactly. just the line of kicks, just right there, is 15 deep.
So yeah, I take the camera and I show just like a little aisle worth, and then I go pan on like this entire aisle. You know what I mean? And like, we are sugar gluttons here in America. But I just find the fact that people saw that as interesting. I want to see someone go in a UK bar, I want to see some weird shit that I can't experience in America. I thought that the media had saturated the rest of the world with the way our lives were, and they knew what my program looked like.
Hang on. Antoine, this my camera's giving me some static. All right, there we go. So Antoine's our producer,
Gotcha.
so I'll give him a note every once in a while. But you can also just keep that in.
But there's real people.
But yeah,
real people and genuine friends that you can make on there that are, like, I consider part of my family.
yeah, and I've actually found that there are people that I've become very, very close with, and because it's like-minded. Obviously, you run into people that are hammered drunk, or you can tell they're on drugs, whatever it is.
6 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, exactly. And so you never know exactly what you're going to run into, but every once in a while there's a diamond in the rough, and you get to have a conversation with somebody like you and I, and you see the humanity of what this is trying to become, and it's a very interesting thing, and even to describe it, in the way that we're discussing it, like is TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. Like it's just, I mean, it is what it is, and
Right.
so it has its place in each person's life. But yeah, it's a very interesting place to settle down and meet people. Yeah, it's very interesting.
One important thing people should know though is that the TV and the radio are half of Clapper, and your content is the other half. And no matter what happens in that TV and the radio, you can be blocked by the entirety of Clapper that is involved in the crowd. And they cannot stop your voice. They cannot stop your reach, and they can't shut you up. I did not, some of the videos top out in views, while a lot of Clapper was didn't really care for me, but they weren't able to stop my video from getting over 100,000 views. So that separation needs to be made aware of, because regardless of whether or not people like you or not in these radios and stuff, they can't stop your voice. They can't stop you from being heard. So.
Yeah, that what's really incredible is the amount of people that you can. I've had a couple of people on Clapper make videos about this show, or kind of just helping out in any way they can, helping this, and you get 120,000 views on something. If you guys wouldn't mind coming over to YouTube and helping out, that would be huge, because it's not really translating. But on Clapper, yeah, we're a huge hit.
I went to Clapper because I had a video, my last video shot to 117K in 19 hours. And so I'm tracking the data. The app gives me updates every 10 minutes, and I'm tracking 2,000 views every 10 minutes. And then it went to zero. It didn't dwindle off to zero. There was a switch, straight down, zero. And I'm like, what the hell's up with that? And what Clapper actually told me in their town hall was that maybe I saturated, and all the people who have this app watched my video. And I'm like, so that's all you got? Something 120,000 people on this app? Are you serious? But it sat, I could see it on the FYP. People were telling me it's present, but there was zero traffic. I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, what was their description of it? Like, how did they describe to you? Because it sounds like they probably just shut it off, but they just don't want to tell you their algorithm or
Is
how
it pay? So I heard that
that could be.
that they were living off of ClickClop. That app, and just messed up the name. Money, like that's how they were surviving and making their living on it. I thought when your video got a lot of views, they were supposed to give you some cash.
Sure.
So is that why they're cutting me off? Because I've had multiple videos cap out above 100K, just above 100K, and then just stop. And a lot of other content creators I'm talking to, I haven't seen dollar.
That's interesting, because the one of the founders actually follows me, and he'll dump into, if I'm talking, usually if it's just, the two of us or something, he'll come in and say hi. Or so that'd be a good question for him. If like, how are you guys deciding to monetize this? Because with YouTube, it's fairly easy to figure out when you reach a certain amount of people, and then they can monetize it by putting, you can do it individually by having sponsors. Right. And our sponsors come at the end of the show, by the way, so please stay to the end. But they'll insert their own, advertisements, et cetera, based on the amount of people that you have. Mm-hmm. But I've talked to sponsors, and I've talked with them, and we're nowhere near. I mean, nothing that we do is relative to what's happening on YouTube. But as far as monetizing, but it's fun, and again, it's just something to do,
right?
And I enjoy it.
That's what I got going on. It's something to do. I'm doing something.
Yeah, you've got a great background, though.
Good.
I mean, that.
My wall.
What's that?
Just my back bedroom wall.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's actually pretty expensive to get it that even.
Now, if I could just align the light in me so that I eliminate the shadow.
No, the shadows are good. Yeah. It's life.
Shouldn't have the big umbrella light. Yeah.
Well, I'm getting hit right now by 6 lights.
So I've had to educate myself on content creation and video editing and stuff like that to start doing this. I was thinking about it in July. The last time I loaded a video camera was maybe 1996. I know they've always been on the camera, but I've never shot video and thought about it. So it's all been.
Well, now everything is becomes so consumer friendly. So right now, the camera that you're looking at me through is a 4K camera. This microphone's is a podcast mic, not too expensive. The lighting is a little bit expensive. However, you can get a ring light, for $30 on Amazon or something like that.
Yeah.
I just, because of my profession, I happen to have lights, so I have a couple studios in the house. But yeah, it's very consumer friendly, and especially if you're trying to create content for things like Clapper or TikTok or Instagram and things like that.
Right.
Instagram for me, for some reason, just seems so insurmountable. Like, it's just such a large platform that, oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know how to get across video. We were talking about Instagram, and I've taken this last video that shot to 120K, and I posted it over Instagram. I opened an account at Instagram just to do this, but within the last week, it's got like 17 views on it. So, like, I'm not sure if you can do that. I haven't.
Welcome to my world. I put all this energy and hire people to do this, and I look at it, and some of them have 500 views. Or
I spend so much time on some videos.
But Clapper, it's hundreds of thousands of people are watching these little clips of things that people are doing that include my show. Get it? I don't know.
So
I just have fun. The bottom line is I have fun doing it, and I enjoy.
I'm having a blast, but
yes,
I
stuff
spend
like this.
10 hours on a video and it gets 500 views, and then I do one of my cat coming up like nuzzling my face, 25K. I'm like, come on, guys. But see, that's the thing, and the last thing I wanted to point out is that we're reaching a global market. Mm-hmm. So if you take the sum IQ of all the eyeballs that are watching your video, the sum IQ is.
I don't know.
85. That's just above.
That's just above.
Yeah. And so you really have to consider this when you when you create your content and how you're trying to speak to people.
And to be honest, and I again, I'm not disparaging clip clap or clapper.
Huh?
Clap. Yeah, you got me on it. Clapper. But there, you'll get into some of those moments with some of these people, and I cast no dispersions on anybody, but there is a moment where I'll hit mute and just listen as things disintegrate. And you, in your mind, you know there's an easy solution to this. However, I'm not going to push it because it's going to be throwing logic at something that's currently illogical. And so I kind of let it play out, and maybe I'll take a note here or there and bring it up on the show. But
Well,
it's
unless they ask me directly, and then I'll be like, "Oh, you really want to know what I have to think?"
well, exactly.
Remember
Yes.
what I'm about to say.
And even then, I'm you know, knowing where they're coming from, given the information that I was just privy to as they were discussing it,
Right.
I'm gentle with my words, just because there's no reason to upset somebody that I don't know that's very, very far away.
That's why I just sit there quietly.
Yeah. And allow them to they'll go on a diatribe about whatever it is that for us might seem infinitesimal, but for them it's quite a big deal. And so
And it's, yeah,
you let
you're
it play
absolutely right.
play itself out, and then oftentimes if I come in and maybe try to redirect or something like that, it's very interesting. It's a case study for psychology, really.
People need to be heard.
Mm.
They need to be able to air their grievances and have someone, a sympathetic ear, someone. It was required for me to start talking to them. I had to speak and know that someone was hearing what I was saying, because inside my head it was a hurricane. It was just raging, and I had to concentrate on it to reduce what was going on in my head into a single stream of information that I could talk to you and say, this is how I feel, or this is what I'm trying to say. And, so I just think the video that I'm talking about that went so quick this time was dealing exactly with this. It's called How We Raise Our Men. Emotionally. It starts out with me shouting at my 15-year-old, don't you effing cry. I'll give you a reason to cry. Suck it up. And then I talk about how men are trained by society to be brave and take care of the women and be protectors and run towards the gunfire. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So those emotions we stuff down into ourselves and we don't deal with them. And so, and as I'm going through the video, I show a garbage can that's superimposed over my chest, and I'm throwing pieces of garbage into it whenever I talk about an emotion to kind of represent, what's going on there. And
Well, I think, yeah, and that's a very good insight, because that's true. For a lot of men, I'm from Virginia, and so I've got a lot of Southern stuff, and then my lineage is pretty intense. But there's no crying. So instead of crying, you kind of feel this buildup of what could be seen as an aggressive aspect to your personality or whatever it is. When in actuality, you probably should just go in the other room and cry and just let it out. And if you don't want anybody to see that, of course, men don't want that.
have you ever watched a video of yourself
But
crying?
so we do the opposite.
You ever watched a video of yourself crying?
Oh God, no.
It's,
I don't want to see.
you ever watched another grown man cry?
Only in
Make you
movies.
uncomfortable?
It doesn't make me uncomfortable. No.
Yeah, it does make
What's interesting is, so I do woodwork as a hobby,
right.
and I have all the protective stuff and everything. But there was one day that I knelt on a nail, And so the nail was in my knee. And I pulled it. I had to pull it out with pliers. And my girls, I've got 2 little girls. And my girls are like, "Why aren't you crying?" I was like, "Well, because I'm bleeding all over the place. This is something I gotta deal with." They're like, "Yeah, but why aren't you crying?" I'm like, "Dads don't cry." And they've seen me step on nails. I had my eye cut with like a piece of metal when I was shaving something. And they're like, why aren't you crying? And then I'll watch some movie and they'll look over and I'm like, or a commercial for Folgers. You're like, oh, that got me by the heartstrings.
Yeah.
They're like, but you nail on nails.
That's great.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a weird dichotomy with men's emotions and how we tamp all of that stuff down. It's certainly not an easy
This is
existence.
the current.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, let me cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I get used to that. Like I need to, your audio matches up, so cut.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's the current line of content that I'm creating. So in a couple of the scenes, I'm stomping with my foot. I'm stomping. You should go check it out. I'm stomping the garbage can flat.
Yeah. Well, tell us where to find it. Tell us where to find it.
Well, it's on Clapper. It's the only place. Well, it's on Instagram under Pesticides, PESTACY.
And then give your moniker on Clapper.
It's at Superfly 72.
Yeah, there you go.
So yes, the big one on there. And when you can't cry, where do you put that emotion? That's what I started out kind of asking in the beginning. Where's it supposed to go?
Yeah.
And then I superimpose a comment scene, and I say when I was in this situation, I wasn't brave. I wasn't trying to be heroic. I was scared as hell.
This is just how I reacted. Yeah.
Yeah, and you stuff it down, and then that can gets full. Right, and then you can feel it some days it's choking. You know what I mean? That talking, as you were saying, these people are just bitching in the radios and complaining about their lives. It's getting that out. And so for me to do it when everything was a storm, I had to think about everything that was going on and be able to communicate it. It made me slow it down and analyze it and try and describe it to you.
Yeah.
Because I was mute when I joined this app. I couldn't speak at all, and now I'm doing this with you. July 20th.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, I thank you so much for talking with me and that insight just by itself is really valuable.
And that's the whole point of the video is that they have to talk. But at the very end of the video, I show that garbage can that's been packed full, and I say sometimes, guys, the shit is too big to ever you can't just bury it. You have to talk about it and get it out. But some things are huge, and I reach in the garbage can and say some things like this, and I hold it up to the screen, a piece of garbage, and it has the words on it. My daughter's last words to me, she took her own life. There's a part 2 of this video that I'm trying to make now. People misread it, and they're saying thank you for your service, and I'm sorry for your loss. And that was not the point of the video. And I have to reshoot the first one, but there's still the part 2 about those last words to me. Some people make a video that's called The Sentence That Broke You, but it's that same giant thing that happened to you. And don't deal with it, it's going to come back and knock you to your knees like it did me out of nowhere. My daughter died 15 years ago and still haven't dealt with it. Yeah. And so there's no confession or resolution. There's no satisfaction. I'm never going to feel better by making a video of what her last words were, or putting it on audio, or telling people about it, or putting it on words and taking it in the backyard and burning it, or burying it. Those words are going to stay in my head forever. How do I put my head down and not hear those words? So I finally found an answer. I found it on this freaking app of all places, but I think I can finally finish that part 2 because I think I know. Until now, I haven't figured it out. And
I think, and this, I mean, what do I know? But I think the way people imbibe what it is that you're giving them. That's their own personal way of dealing with things that they've dealt with. And even though it might not completely coalesce with what it was you were trying to convey, it's how they're accepting it and how it's touching them.
I talked to several men afterwards who expressed that they're angry all the time and they don't understand it. And I'm like, the garbage can's full. You've stuffed every emotion that's ever been into that hole, and now it's full. And so everyone has to walk on eggshells around you now because they had no idea it's going to set you off. So I'm going to reshoot the video because they didn't. I didn't do it for the sympathy. I didn't do it because I serve. I did it to try and tell these people you've got to talk about your stuff. So I'm going to reshoot it where it's just me, and I'm like, I have the garbage can, same garbage can. I'm going to put it down, and it says, "This is you" on it. I'm going to say, "This is you. These are your emotions," and I'm going to start like, I was bullied as a kid, and I throw it away, and like people made fun of me, I throw it away, and like so and so muted me, I throw it away, and I was fucking molested. Because these videos are triggering people. That large emotion, my daughter's last words, or whatever is that large thing for you. If you have one, I'm triggering that, and it's got to be talked about, right? So I'm going to do that with the garbage can. I'm going to start stomping it down, and then I'm going to fill it up, and I'm going to say, "This is you. You're full." And I'm going to take a napkin, and I'm going to drop it. It's going to go down kind of slow, and it touches the garbage can. And I'm just going to get the shit out of it.
Yeah.
While I'm talking about how everything's on eggshells because no one knows what's going to trigger you. And maybe I needed to bring it to that level. I think with me talking and bringing in the opacity of a video of the garbage can and fading in, fading out with it. And maybe I was too finesse or the word was better to, because they didn't hear what I'm trying to say. Like, that's why you're on eggshell.
It sounds like you just want to be raw about it.
Right.
Like that's
me.
Yeah.
Raw.
So this is the analogy, and I'm going to do the best I can to describe this analogy to you. But whether it translates for you or it doesn't translate for you, that is neither here nor there for me.
Right.
It's important that I depict this aspect of my life, and I want this to be an empty trash can.
Yeah.
And that probably won't happen. But I'm not going to stop trying.
And I can like turn the camera and say, "Hey guys, peace out. Like, these guys bullied me in high school. It really fucking bothered me. And I'll send it off somewhere, you know what I mean? And I'll empty the garbage can out kind of quick that way by talking about it."
Yeah, they call it the fuck it bucket.
That's what I got to do with the words, I think. That was the answer to this second part. I haven't yet because I couldn't figure out. I said, I've got to take those words and wrap them back up and put them back in and keep them there because they're going to stay there. They're going to go anywhere. But if I can protect them and see them different.
Yeah, but that's also something for you. I wouldn't call it a gift, but it's something that was given to you.
It was given to me. Oh my God. Okay. It's not. I went crazy. I went crazy in July. I think I had no break. I think I've been through too much stuff, and it all culminated on right outside them that porch. And I felt that these videos that I'm describing, this is just 2 videos, one that they would put in my brain. I thought by an external, not God, but I thought by an external force because they were in a box. There were like 10 videos, and each video came with a storyboard and the angles that I had to shoot the videos and what was called a hook. I didn't know what a hook was, dude. I had to go look up what a video hook was, and it's supposed to be like that first 3 seconds. It's some insane thing that, you know, captures and stops that scroll thing just for a second and breaks that. I guess it's called a hook. I don't know. I looked it up. That's what it is. It was my brain forcing me to deal with the traumas in my life. And all the videos that I have to make just happen to be my traumas as I look at it now. At first, it was given to me. It was given to me. It's not my video I shot. That video of me shouting at my 15-year-old was not my idea. It was in that box. It all came at once. So, and there's more videos to make.
So how do you feel coming out of the back end of that? Like, do you feel like do you have a semblance of calm? Do you does it is it having its effect, the proper effect? Because I don't know that that's necessarily going to go away depending on the amount of trauma you've dealt with. But after releasing some of this stuff, is the even if it's just the moment after you hit send or after you complete whatever project, is there a okay? Because it's not going to go away.
No, there's not. It's extremely hard to make these videos. And I probably shouldn't even on the webcam describe the first video that I was supposed to make. The rest of them, you know, like, it's helped. She passed 15 years ago. I've never been to her grave. I've never dealt with that at all, except to go to the funeral. So that's okay. I was suicidal. I had planned, timeline, and I've had that for a long time. And right at the end of March, a tornado came and blew all our shit away and messed up our plan. And now I went from that to deciding not to do that plan. And I've struggled this whole time with the answer to what I was supposed to do with her words. And that's why I'm kind of excited that I finally have something I think I can do. And I finished that video because no, there's no relief in posting it. It's frightening. I always felt before that the way karma works is that you do something good and it goes out into the universe. And maybe you in a year might see that video and touch you somehow and change you. But I would never know, or I would know in an after, whatever comes after this, maybe I would know there. You know what I mean? But that's how karma's supposed to work. And it's one of the videos I'm going to make. 10 minute pops. This is so the video, the first one I did went boom, it's like 109,000 views. And I was like, okay, bye. And then people started talking to me and needing help, and I certainly can't help anybody, but I also met at the same time people who could help, and I was able to relay these guys.
But you can, Mike. You can help. You're going through it, and they're going through it, and it's a big deal for them to reach out as it is for you to reach out, or for me, or for anybody to reach out. So if they're reaching out because you've got something to say. And even if it's just, I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. I'm walking the same road that you are, but I'll do it with you. And let's see if together we can make it better. And if not, not. But I think by and large, if you're open to allowing that and allowing people to use you as a resource,
it's humbling.
That'll give you, yeah, exactly. But it also gives you something that you know it's not for nothing. All of the stuff that I've been through isn't lost. I can discuss things that most people can't.
I can admit that my daughter had last words to me after 15 years. I've went from never dealing with any of it to learning how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Massive.
Oh man, you're doing a great job, and the fact that the fact that you allow people to, one, that you've opened up and you feel comfortable kind of discussing whatever you're comfortable discussing. Every aspect of that helps, and it helps people. It just does, because there's people that are where you are or where you have been, and they think that there is no way out. I cannot dig myself out of this hole.
I got a video, is it up? Where I'm talking to some guy I have a hole. I lived in that hole for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm encouraging this guy, this imaginary guy, to get his ass up and go to work and do some shit, you know. And then I cut, and I found a well that's like 10 feet deep, and I stuck my camera down there, and they rolled the film, and so the video goes where I'm like lifting up the lid, and I'm like, "Are you serious? What are you doing down there?" And then I climb down in the fucking hole and sit, and I'm like, "All right, like this isn't quite what I expected for today, but charge me tomorrow, bro."
Well, it's that exact thing. Having somebody, certainly for me, I've been through my trials and tribulations, but when you can sit and talk with somebody that'll listen, but also understands where it is you're coming from and doesn't have these cliches and all these, it's brighter on the other side, or the grass is always greener. Yeah, just shut the fuck up. Who gives, don't fucking talk. Like, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about things that are actually impacting me. And this is the thing. Don't cliche me to death. Like, let's, just listen. At this moment, I don't need advice. I don't want unsolicited advice. But when I ask for it, I mean it.
Right.
Until then, I just need an ear.
Right.
Because this is what I'm going through.
And
I'll get there.
Get a piece of the garlic.
Yeah. And I'll get there, and if I can get there with you, then that would be great. But if you keep telling me the grass is always greener on the other side, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Oh, you got a case of the Mondays? No! Things have been a disaster for a decade. Yeah. So, anyway, well, Mike, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you having this conversation with me, and I hope we get to do this again. And again, I really appreciate it. And I know that you're sensitive about this statement, but I do appreciate your service, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to have these sit downs where we can talk openly and freely.
Awesome. I appreciate your support and your encouragement and your time.
Yeah, thanks so much. If this is what we're going for, we nailed it. Thanks, Mike.
I don't know. It's a rough story, man.
I know, but you're very eloquent and
Yeah, I guess so.
but the sincerity that I see, and the sincerity in your voice, and the sincerity in your eyes, it's valuable. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks. That's awesome.
I'll talk to you
So
soon.
are you gonna end it, or you can just stop the recording, or?
I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll email you or call you. I don't know if I have your number, but I was going to call you.
I'll send it in that same DM. I'll shoot you.
Oh, yeah,
a number,
that'd be great. All right, brother.
Awesome. That's fucking. I gotta start talking in real life.
What's that?
I gotta start talking in real life.
Well, that was really valuable. I think people are going to really enjoy this. And then you can put it up and let people get a
I need
little
help with
insight.
this content creation. I'm still on a learning curve. Like, let's see this one. Is it coming to focus? Can you see the 3D
Oh, yeah.
controls on that piece on that graphic? This is a video I'm shooting where I'm an engineer. I'm going to teach myself video editing. I bought the full Adobe suite. I'm like fucking like.
I hire a producer because I don't know how that stuff works. So.
Maybe I need to be a producer. You think there'll be a producer just in producing my fucking show?
Yeah, well, I get him. He's much more talented than I pay. So that's
Never mind.
yeah. All right, well, send me a DM. I'll give you a call.
Okay.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for doing this.